even on my own computer. Okay. So I was going to pull up what Cook sent. My data.
My goal is to send this on Mondays, but we had Sharon Wells this week, so it kind of threw me off.
So when you send us this, is it like it has adding and subtracting fractions? So like, are you just going back? How far?
I'm just going to keep adding on to the end of it. So I just look in Eduphoria to see y'all's most recent test, and if I haven't added it already, then I'll add a slide.
Okay.
Just because it's so hard because everybody tests on different days. So I just said, okay, on Mondays, I'm going to go in and put whatever your latest data is in there, and then y'all can look at it that way.
Okay, cool.
So each time the last slide will be the most recent data.
Volume, multiplying, dividing. Here's our dividing fraction. Looks like, ooh, we got a pretty high percentage of approaches. That's good. We're all in line, it seems. As far as percentages go, I mean, Miller's only 4% behind me.
Even the masters, I mean, over just about half of y'all's classes are mastering that. So I thought that was a good thing.
Yes. Which keep, change, flip is, they like it. So it's like a more engaging content area. And I feel like they like it with the, like the little songs that we give them and all that. So, and you know, it's really not that hard of a concept. So, I mean, I always feel like it goes pretty well. It's the adding and subtracting that's more difficult by far.
Well, I also think too, when we put the dividing fractions together with this week's test with the multiplying fractions, that's a difficult, those are two difficult concepts to decipher from.
Right.
I'm worried about it.
I think too, by the time we got to dividing this year, we had done already so much simplifying and converting from mixed to improper that made it a little bit easier too, because that was the last piece of fractions. They had already done all those other pieces prior to.
She will.
Yeah, we may look at number 3 and 7 at some point and see
if someone could help with
maybe
that.
if it's how the questions were asked or kind of what went wrong, because
yes,
all of those are like in 80s and 90s except those 2 questions.
Okay, let me see if let me pull it.
I have a quick question unrelated. When a kid is put in Skyward or removed from Skyward from my grade book, does that automatically take them out of Eduphoria for me as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Because they're all linked together.
Okay. Because I need to have one moved, so I'm just checking.
Actually, also in Skyward 2, this is super weird, but when a kid moves even within the same district to like another class, then it takes all the grades out from that previous class. So like, for instance, with the student that I got from you, Holly. So when she came to me, it looked like she had no grades, but I had to do an import from Skyward to upload all of her grades that matched my grade book because I knew your grades matched mine.
I got it.
It was kind of strange, but. Okay, we said number 3, yes. It's a model. Cook, number 3, and what was the other one?
Sorry, number 7.
Okay.
We were all like in the 40s and 50s on those.
So on this model, I noticed with mine when I was working with them on a similar question to this, is they get really confused about the separation between, so like on A and B, that's one whole. But they get really confused about the fact, well, why is that one whole? It's cut up into all those pieces. And then like C is 6 holes. The only one that shows 2 holes is D. but they get confused about the fact that those are completely separate from each other.
Which number was that?
3. Can y'all see it? I have it pulled up.
Yeah, I just couldn't see the number. I could see the
Okay.
answer.
Okay. Yeah. So like they think A and B, when they first glance at those, they don't realize that that's representing one whole.
Is number 7 a model like that too?
Let me see. 4, 5, 6. Oh, no, this one was hard. Like when I read this one, I had to really stop and read it over and over again before I felt like I understood it. I mean, it was just hard because you're matching the word problem with the fraction. And this is one of those that Sharon does. You know, this is one of her tricks of the trade here. There weren't a lot of practice with these. Like we did.
The other thing too, when I'm looking at number 7, so C was across the board an answer choice that not very many people picked. A lot of them picked B. For the, I guess the ones the most pick wrong answer was B. So
Which
we
is
made
multiplication, right?
They knew mostly that it was not C.
Mm-hmm.
So at
'Cause I
least to me, it was like they just probably looked at that and didn't want to read it. But then if that was the case, the answers would be all over the place.
Right.
But not many of them picked C. So they were at least got down to C and realized that was not an answer, the correct answer.
And the correct answer is what? C?
It's A.
A.
But B throws them, like a lot of the kids that asked me about this when they were taking their test, they came up to me and were asking me questions. And B was multiplication. So we talked about multiplication and division being really close because if you're asking what 1/4 of 3 is, or if they have 3 packages, they each weighed 1/4 of a pound, what's the total weight? It's 3 times 1/4, right? So they were getting confused with that one. But D is division, and to me that one's more clear division, but they knew not to pick it because it's like they knew that the way the problem read, that the numbers were in the wrong order.
Okay, is this something that's I'm assuming going to come back up in y'all's star review?
For sure.
Or something like with that model question that we can just kind of drill into their head that they have to search for the amount of holes first.
Yeah, we have a question, a model question in our test this week that's really terrible also.
There's 2 of them.
Yeah, the one that is, it's like there's 24 total pieces, but it's like 1/4 times 6 or something like that. Isn't that right, Lainey?
Let me pull it.
Look at the number. It's like question number 6 or 7 for this week's test. It's really bad. Yeah. That one's confusing.
And number 7 is kind of tricky too, I thought, but number 8 for sure is nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we should no count it, but leave it in there to see what happens. Okay, so a leaky faucet that drips 10 times each hour wastes a 1/4 gallon of water a day. How many days would it take for the leaky faucet to waste 18 gallons? So the 10 times is extra information.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 18 divided by 1/4.
Mm-hmm.
18 would be your total. Yeah.
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 So instead of no counting that one question, do we want to look maybe at some released questions and lead forward and see if we can find one similar to that model that from this other test and see if we can just ask it again?
I don't know that it would be any better since we haven't really practiced it this week. You know?
Okay, that's this week's test coming.
Right.
Will you scroll down to the next question?
Sure.
So the one with the model. Yeah, that's
I hate these.
That's one. That's it.
Yeah, because the answer is obviously
6 divided by 4.
1/6 divided by 4.
No, it is. Yeah.
And it's 1/24th, but they're going to look at the square and think it's 1/4.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's, I don't like that they put 6 divided by 1/4 on there too.
Mm-mm.
Because that's the first thing that I was thinking because I was counting the original boxes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one's gonna be no good.
Ugly.
Do we want to look for something to put in its place that would be more of kind of what y'all are covering?
I would be
I
okay.
mean, I think we need to do something because I don't think it's fair for them not to have a shot of doing well, because she's only given one question like this in the practice so far this week. Was it yesterday or was it today? It was yesterday. It was in yesterday's assignment, and it wasn't even like this.
There were circles. I
Yeah.
think there were two that were circles.
Scroll up just a little so I can see what peak that is. 3J.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Well,
it's the pictorial.
mm-hmm.
The represent.
And I know that Star asked kind of a tough question like this before, but it wasn't for dividing or multiplying fractions. What was it for? It was for adding and subtracting fractions. Do you remember it, Lainey?
Say it again.
There was a model, it was similar like this.
Yes, yes.
It was adding and subtracting fractions. It wasn't multiplying, dividing. But when Star put it on there, everybody bombed it. And everybody was like, why did they ask it? Like, this question is crazy.
Yes.
It's hard to read.
That was about 4 years ago.
Yes.
And even Lisa was like, It was,
Yeah, because it's hard to read. You can't tell what all's going on. There's too much happening in the.
well, I overlooked the one yesterday on the work with the circles, not the one divided in half, but the very first problem. I think it was divided in fourths and then
It was 1/4 divided by.
3 by thirds.
Mhm.
But I didn't even pick up on the solid and the dotted lines at first. And that threw me. And if you don't see the dotted or the solid, I mean, that's probably me, but I was just looking at it like, what? And then there was just one piece shaded in. I don't know.
Yeah.
If you haven't practiced those a lot, they're hard. They don't make any sense.
Yeah. And sometimes she shades and sometimes she doesn't. Like there was a model question yesterday too, where she shaded in 1/3 because that's what she started with.
Mm-hmm.
And then she divided only one of the thirds by 5. She didn't cut it all the way across.
Right. She didn't even put dotted lines.
But I will say that the star teaks do say by, various different model types. So I guess this is their way of saying that, there can be all these different model types that you could see. Because when the question like similar to this model was asked for adding and subtracting fractions, that's why people were caught off guard, is because it was not a type of model that we'd ever seen.
I don't know if y'all saw this last year or not, but one of the things she talked about in the training yesterday was pulling the data from the 2019 test to see what happened. And she did like an analysis of the low performing teaks with that, where she listed them by reporting categories to show like maybe what areas we might need to kind of focus on to moving forward, like what areas were more difficult.
Yes.
And reporting category 2 is the biggest bang for our buck.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Yeah.
If they can pass reporting category 2, they can pass the whole test.
Yep.
Can y'all see that?
Huh?
Can y'all see my screen
mhm.
for the release questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so on the 5.3J, it's only been twice since 2015, and it was once on 2019. And these are the only 2 questions that they have.
Well, there's a high likelihood it's going to come back then.
Yeah.
Like
Well, actually, I can't see it, I guess. I don't
I
see
get,
it.
I just see the
I see the lead forward page.
right.
Oh, because I'm on my other screen. Hold on, let me move it over here. Okay. Now can you see it?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay, so there's this one was on 2019.
Can you make it a little bigger, please?
Yeah.
Will it let you? If it doesn't let you, that's okay.
No, that's going to be a half divided by a third or by 3.
Mhm.
The cake. Oh yeah, the cake problem.
Mhm.
And then the other one
We've
was,
used that. We've used a lot of number lines for sure.
and that's the only 2 since 2015 that we have to look at.
I would say that number line question would be a good one to replace with, because we've done a lot of the number lines. Like we've been using those the first round when we taught it for the first time in the content,
We've
and
done.
then for the review.
We've actually done that one though this week.
No,
I have somewhere. Maybe I
No,
pulled it.
you're thinking of the one that the answer was 18. It was 6 and 3.
No, but maybe I pulled this somewhere because my observations tomorrow, so I'm kind of all over the place.
Maybe I think that's some of the ones I pulled and
Maybe
stuck
that's what it was.
Yeah.
So no or yes?
I mean, if we've already done it, then it may not be fair.
Yeah.
They may not necessarily remember it though.
That's true.
I mean, I think it would be fine.
I mean,
I think either one of those would be fine.
Mm-hmm.